But of the three readings today, was there one that particularly caught your attention? There was one for me when I read these readings earlier this week to prepare for today's homily. Our second reading from 1 Corinthians begins with words that made me sit up and pay attention. I want you to be free from anxieties. Boy, doesn't that sound good, especially in these challenging times of ours right now. To be free from stress and anxiety would be a wonderful thing. Stress is one of the most common and uncomfortable experiences. It drains our energy, keeps our nerves on edge, makes us irritable, prevents us from getting a good night's sleep, and takes all the fun out of life. My mother had a solution to deal with stress. She would say, "Don't get your bowels in an uproar." I find this helpful in my own life, but when St. Paul offers a suggestion to free us from our anxieties, we do well to pay attention. Paul's formula for stress relief is revealed in his denunciation of what we might call spiritual schizophrenia. For Paul, the cause of stress is a certain division within ourselves. The half-heartedness and the halfway measure we take in handling our lives make for anxiety. Divisiveness always takes a toll. Living by double standards, compromising our principles, walking both sides of the fence, burning the candle at both ends, we literally tear ourselves apart. Stress means that we are at odds within ourselves. We are pulling on both sides of a seam regarding a major or minor life issue. And what is Paul's prescription for this anxiety? Single-hearted, undivided devotion to the Lord. When Paul speaks of undivided devotion to the Lord, he is not advocating that we give up our everyday responsibilities and dedicate all our time and attention to religious work. He is not advocating against marriage, as it might seem from what he says in today's readings about spouses being concerned about pleasing each other, and if you're not married, then you don't have that stress. But what he is saying and what he is promoting is that we have one principle to govern the way we live, one moral imperative by which we handle all our affairs. And that principle is Jesus and his teachings. In other words, to stop living at cross purposes with ourselves and find a bedrock of stability, we need to think and act with the mind and heart of Jesus. And how do we know that mind and heart? We hear the word of the Lord in the Gospels every week, not only for inspiration, but for example. Over the weeks and years, we get a feel for what Jesus is like, how he thinks, how he evaluates people and situations, how he conducts himself in difficult circumstances, how he views the purpose of life. We get a feel for the man and his vision. We get in touch with his mind and his heart. As the way, the truth, and the life, the mind and heart of Jesus are what we need to make our own. Single-hearted devotion to the Lord will end our confusion, provide us with a lasting focus, and tell us exactly what we need to do. I still take my mother's advice to not get my bowels in an uproar, but it's much easier to do that when your focus is on the Lord and his ways.